السلام عليكم ورحمة الله. السلام عليكم ورحمة الله.
Assalamu alaikum. Welcome to the Masjid Carpark podcast, episode 67. It's been a long time.
Wa alaikum salam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
1 month.
Yeah,
And how the world has changed.
yeah. So
In that month,
I was away overseas.
Umrah.
I went to Turkey and with a group that went to Turkey and then on to Medina Munawwara and then Makkah Mukarramah for Umrah. So it was Australian group, mashallah. Yeah.
how was it? How was it in the context of everything that's going on in the world?
It was very strange. It was very strange because you're on this sort of like every talk, because I was like the imam or sheikh, whatever the group. Every talk that
Are you
you
a
do,
sheikh?
every talk that you do, every program that's being done is clouded or influenced by this. Like it's bizarre. Like because we've had like very serious circumstances Muslims gone through, whether it be Burma or China or Afghanistan or Pakistan, whatever, you name it. And this one has, for whatever reason,
Social
it's
media.
resonated. Yeah, I mean, we had social media last 10 years,
but
but
not
this
like
is
this.
next level. And it affected everything. Like it affected everything and everybody. Like, and even every talk that I did or any, when you're engaging with the people, this is like ever present in your mind and in the communities and the community that I was with from Australia. It's in their mind. Yeah, they're doing their first Umrah, their first ziyarah, visiting the Prophet, but you can tell the du'as that have been made
Allahu Akbar.
is for this. Like it's very sort of
Not loudly, I hope, because I've heard that if you make loud dua,
that's changing a little bit now. It was weird kind of that we're in Medina Munawwara. Nothing was said in Jummah. Zero.
literally.
Like nothing. And you're in some of the other smaller masjids in the outskirts or outside. So you're wondering like what's happening? Like why is this? Obviously there's orders from the top and hence they've been silenced. But like now they sort of like have removed that. So there is now like
But I've heard there's a lot of sheikhs being put into prison.
that's a different issue. Like it's
Okay.
not specifically to do with this. It could be based on politics and they're not happy with what the rulers might be doing. They speak up. But generally, there was in Makkah Mukarramah, the Imam in Jummah, I heard it's increased now. They're actually making some dua qunut and so forth. If you have a listen to some of the explanations behind it, like basically the rulers, the powers that be, they're not happy with what's happening to the point of where, all right, the Imams now you should start. So that's how it works, right? So
What do you mean you got to
so
explain
the
that?
Imam is not like an independent, like he can just start making dua qunut nazila, like
For his
dua-
own masjid.
Huh?
For his own masjid.
Yeah,
just
he
make the
cannot.
call.
He cannot.
Like
He has
you could
to
make the call for your mosque.
Yeah, I mean, and generally imams are free. They're free reign in most of the sort of like world, and they can make qunut or whatever else khutbahs. But the silence was
Deafening.
very noticeable.
And we've heard that.
That you can see that it was like very strange. Like you hear a whole khutbah from beginning to end, nothing is mentioned. Now it is a little bit. Makkah Mukarramah was there. They did make a short dua and a short what do you call it? A mention of it. So it was very brief, surprisingly. That's changed in the last since. So we're video filming this, taping this on the 22nd. Probably released by the weekend. Since then it's been sort of like the sort of instructions have come. Okay, they're not respecting us, and these negotiations not working. So do something.
Right, so those negotiations going on.
So there's a
behind the
political
scenes.
element of it.
Yeah,
Unfortunately, it's not. There's other things, spanners. There's a long explanation, the economics of this, but anyway, putting that aside, as for our experience, the Umrah was amazing in terms of just generally everything went smoothly. Obviously, the first time that people go for Umrah, they're very appreciative. They are, they're very in tune, and they are very appreciative and grateful to be there. And it's a very eye-opening experience.
And moving.
Yeah, and they've done certain things there. Yeah, very moving, and people are like, and like as a quote unquote group leader or imam of the group. You're sort of like
Wow.
you're
Did you
honored.
get
You're
promoted?
like you're honored to actually help them, and you're sort of like there along the side while they're in there. Like
Yeah.
there with all the love and emotion and fear of Allah and all that tawbah and everything. Like you're sort of like you have like a window. You're sort of teaching them and
You
explaining
haven't
it, but their
developed-
experience, you're there along with their experience, and you're
It's not
you're
an Umrah fetish or anything like that. Yeah.
Astaghfirullah azim. But you're benefiting from their
Is that even allowed?
like you see these people like their sincerity and
Yep.
the money that they saved up and all those
Yeah,
sort of things that
subhanallah.
to come there. I mean, generally for the first Umrah,
Putting up with you during the Umrah.
yeah, exactly, and
So many different
so-
tests from Allah.
so it was interesting in the current circumstances. Like you sort of like you're right there. It's like 1,000 kilometers away from you.
Yeah, that's-
it's
that's-
so weird as an Australian because the distances that we travel.
Yeah, Sydney.
Yeah, it's sort of like weird that there could be a whole massacre that's going on.
Well, there is a massacre that's
Yeah,
going on.
and like you can't like you feel helpless here to a certain degree in Australia, but then when you're closer there, like you're flying, it was weird, like because we're flying from Turkey to, so it flies right around it.
Wow.
Like the plane actually does like an L because he goes to Egypt and then does like a L shape. Like it doesn't go directly through
Yeah.
what normally airspace given the does so it sort of like does like an L sort of like you can see that it's like going like that. It's like okay, it's trying to avoid something on the map.
What is wrong with the world, man?
It's
Just the fact that you said it's trying to avoid it, that
Yeah.
L. I mean, that's a plane. We are our governments are doing that mentally, and in their voices with their words, avoiding this. Like when the comment of the silence is deafening. Like this situation makes you truly understand that. You know what? This whole situation has made me understand. I'm probably digressing. I'm not. I understand now why there is Jannah and Jahannam. I believe in Jannah and Jahannam. Always believed in it. All of those things, but when you hear about what Jahannam is actually like, it's like, I get it.
yeah.
Like the justice of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, may Allah protect us all from it. I get it.
Yeah, like you can see the cruelty of certain people
It's
and
phenomenal.
the like it's a lot.
That's what I'm saying.
It's a lot.
We're sitting in a podcast.
Yeah.
Before we came here, I'm thinking, all right, we've got to talk about this podcast. There's a million podcasts out there now. Thousands of them. That have
the
explained
amount
this
of
whole
information.
situation. The information is there. What's going on? How did it start? Where did it start? Then you got Piers Morgan. Do you condemn September? October the 7th.
Yeah.
The usual stuff. All that's there. But I was driving here and I'm thinking to myself, I don't have words.
Yeah.
Like we can rehash and go, okay, this is what it happened. 1948, the Nakba happened. They were kicked out. They've been occupied people literally since 1948 till now. The
Actually,
same amount of zulm has been going on.
listen to the blogging theology about Churchill, Winston Churchill, today. It's only about half an hour.
He's a mass murderer.
Have a listen to him. I think he's the brother who does that podcast, blogging theology from UK. He actually reads excerpts of a section of the Times and Crimes of Winston Churchill by Tariq Ali.
The Times and Crimes of
I think
Winston
that's what it's
Churchill.
called. Yeah, and if you read that, but he reads a specific to do with the context of Palestine, and it actually goes back to like early 19th century, like actually where it started, 1875. It predates the Balfour Agreement, but it just goes through the steps of what actually led to
The long-term
why
planning.
why the commitment is so much to it. And what it's actually created, which probably that even sort of envisage initially what they thought would be, how the Arabs were treated of the countries, how they were seen by Winston Churchill and others as well. And basically, the theory of, I mean, I'm not going to go through this again, but many of the podcasts, the debates, the arguments, the satire, there's so many things. It's like we become, as a world, generally, and especially Muslims, we become like in a very short amount of time, even if we didn't know about it, like myself, we didn't know the ins and outs of it. We learned a lot in the last 6 weeks in terms of
Very quickly.
and we figured we didn't like the Western protest, especially in Western countries, the protests across the world.
Humans are still human.
Yeah, like 600, like last Friday, there was 600 or something like 500, 600 protest events in one day throughout the world, right? It's like, and yeah, majority of them are non-Muslim. but they can see clearly. No matter how much, I mean, I swear, like the Israelis, like their Mossad, Shin Bet, and all their army, they look like it's something out of Get Smart. When the more they lie,
completely.
it's almost like all those du'as, they didn't get wasted.
Yeah.
That their divisions are showing, and also their humiliation is showing. Like Allah's putting humiliation every time they try to lie. It's like something comes out, even from BBC, surprisingly, that'll expose the lie, the propaganda. Like it fails at every turn.
But and the thing is, the guy doing the lying or the girl doing the lying out from these Zionists, from this apartheid state, right? They genuinely believe that they're fooling us or fooling the general population. And people are now just watching going, are you for real?
Yeah, and those
do you
bloggers,
actually think we believe
podcasters,
this?
they're coming now. They're being brought onto like mainstream,
Yeah.
and then they're debating back, and they're not sticking to talking points.
No.
And their podcasts and so forth, they are getting their YouTube channels are getting more views, to the point that billionaires have got together to. You saw that article? Billionaires got together to basically
Well, there's
counter.
one billionaire getting all of the Zionist billionaires together and saying, you guys need to put in money because we need to counter this narrative.
Yeah.
And what I'm noticing now on TikTok is there's a lot more pro.
I hate TikTok
Zionist.
in this situation.
No, but there's a lot more pro-Zionist propaganda coming out.
Yeah.
That you can see the wealth or the money they're throwing at it. It's
Yeah.
coming out. But then when you look at the comments,
Yeah.
it's just
People
like,
aren't buying it.
no.
Yeah, they're not buying it. It's amazing how it's sort of
Well,
the outcome, like the September 11 playbook is not working. They said this is our September
Yeah.
11. It's not
because
working.
the mainstream media
Yeah.
is not what is consumed by the majority of the world anymore.
And
Baby
then,
boomers.
And then like what went viral on TikTok, the strangest things. Osama bin Laden's letter became viral, which is weird.
I woke up one morning and there was all these articles about they took off Osama bin Laden's letter. I'm like, what has he got to do with this?
Because he talked about the Palestinian issue.
No, I understand that, but
Some are saying that is a psyop by the Zionists to link the two together, make that
so people feel sorry for Israel because
because
Osama
it's
bin
similar.
Laden did this.
Yeah, something.
Yeah, but then it backfired.
It backfired. Everything
Phenomenally.
they do is backfire. Like the guy that tried to show the tunnel,
like
the,
keep it going this way.
the elevator
The
shaft,
elevator shaft.
and then in the next video he's got a red. He's got a cut on his forehead. He must have fallen down the stairs. He goes like, I swear, this like Get Smart level
But then
intelligence.
You got the calendar
Yeah, with the days of the week.
with the days of the week, and it's saying Hamas fighters with their names. Have you seen the memes that have come out with that?
Yeah.
Now Hamas fighters are being called Monday, Tuesday, when Thursday did this operation.
Or they're playing like a play school or Arab play school song, teaching kids the days of the week.
Fit something behind this meme. Have you seen that one? Like where people are now we're pointing at the calendar, but then people are putting their own picture in.
Yeah. I saw they had the guy that's today it was a water slide at at a water theme park, and he's pointing to the water slide.
But also,
It's kind of it's a lot, but it's funny. I think in these dark days, like there's a little bit of
there's a very dark humor associated
Yeah.
with this. But have you noticed, like, even the double standards are coming out, but they're open to see, plainly to
Yeah.
see. Like this Thursday, I think there's a school student protest.
yeah
So I think 12 o'clock or whatever time it is, all students, like whoever wants to be part of this protest,
yeah
is walking out of the classrooms. Now there's a letter in the Age that is basically saying, or someone's opinion piece that was saying that, these guys are too young to make their own rational decisions. This is, influencing and all these things, and this should be discouraged. Why didn't we do that with Greta Thunberg?
and the climate change protests and
Yeah,
stuff.
why
like
didn't we do that with all that?
that. Yeah.
Why were kids allowed? Because this was more important. Or-
Yeah. And then the students came out and they said, don't you dare try to minimize and diminish our voice. Like 16-year-olds. She said, because don't you dare try to diminish our voice and try to call us children and say that we are like little kids, that we don't understand what's going on. We know what's going on.
Do you know this whole situation as well, what's going on TikTok or what's going on X, so much so, but more TikTok because that's the youth space, right?
Yeah.
I've got a lot more respect for these youth.
Yeah.
Not because of the whole they're pro-Palestine or, they're against genocide,
Yeah.
but because there's some very intelligent material coming out.
TikTok.
And
Sharif.
no, right. TikTok before was just in the gym,
Yeah.
check my body out while I'm working out.
I don't know.
Well, I don't know either. I'm just saying, right? But or whatever it is, right?
Yeah.
It was fitna talk,
Yeah.
right? But now, like the level of intelligence of a 15, 16-year-old.
Oh, they know. They're watching. They're
Right,
reading.
they're actually very savvy, and I think this thing has just brought that to the fore, to the surface.
Yeah.
May Allah protect them.
It's blown out the whole. We know that the media, the mainstream media,
That'll never change.
but their
Channel 9,
grip
Channel
was
7.
already loosening and so forth. This is like totally blown. Like it, and then they're inviting YouTubers on mainstream because
Yeah.
they've taken the whole thing. And now they have to bring the YouTubers, and they're not even. They didn't study political science or anything, but they are giving comments.
Yeah, but the only ones because
To shut them down.
The only ones that watch mainstream media now are baby boomers.
Yeah,
Or the above 40 generation.
yeah.
I can't remember the last time I watched TV. I mean,
Yeah.
you don't watch TV anyway, but
Yeah.
you're very pious like that.
I mean, the YouTube's just
right?
replaced it
No,
anyways.
but what I'm saying is I can't remember the last time I watched mainstream media.
Yeah,
Who's actually got TV, free-to-air TV in their home,
yeah.
right? So it's the older generation, and they're stuck in their ways.
And those kafir, like the scarves, they're everywhere.
Bro.
I'm just at a random like pharmacy. And there's a guy just lined up next to me, and
Oh, it's amazing.
it's just everywhere. Like, okay, all right,
People-
right on, brother.
No, but I think
Yeah.
what's shocked people as well is, okay, we're watching this genocide now in live streaming it for the last 4 weeks or 6 weeks, whatever it's been. 7th of October, so just over, right? However, this has been going on for 75 years and we've been quiet about it. Our grandparents were quiet about it. Our grandparents were quiet about it. Our parents were quiet about it. That generational guilt, for want of a better term, of how can all of these people have stayed quiet and now we can't be complicit in this. Like a lot of these protests you see, we ask that during the Holocaust, how could rational people have been quiet? Why didn't someone say something? Why didn't something happen? We are living through that now. Like it's...
Yeah, I mean, and there are people. This is very important to understand that in the and I talked about this. My teacher talked about this overseas in Kuwait. He talked about this, and he said, in the time where your brothers and sisters need help, right? This is not a time to analyze and critique who did what and why they didn't do what they did. This is not the time for that. There's only two things to do: is du'a and nusra, to help, pray for them. And Nusra is to give any support to the Palestinians or the Gazans specifically.
No, West Bank's copying it as well, but we just don't see it.
In general, I'm talking about like in specifically the Gazans and general Palestinians and any other Muslims as well that need severe help. That there's only two things to do: is du'a and Nusra. And the Nusra, the help that people are engaged in, the amount of activism and activity that's happened in the community. Look at the phone calls and people like just discussing various strategies and so forth. MashaAllah, there's so many organizations that are very busy in at all levels, up to meeting the Prime Minister, up to on social media. Like the people are so active with their local MPs, meeting them. Like there are meetings are being held with with ministers you would not think about the issue. So actually meetings are being held, and like to explain to them where the Muslims stand on this in their electorate. So firstly, like I don't know, like generally Australia is a very small voice in the overall world. Like it's not a big power. Put it that way. It's not a big power.
We supply weapons, man.
And that's the scary part. But we'll get back to that in a sec. So people are, we can do what we can do. That we raise, people are on social media, they're active. In the du'as, they're active. In the amal, in du'as, qunut and so forth, they're active. They are active in the writing the letters to the MPs.
I know Aboriginal artists that are donating 100% of their profits to help the children of Gaza.
And, mashallah, Allah give him hidayat.
Yes.
So the protests, raising the voice in the community. Then you have these, and I don't want to say any names, but some quote unquote are sheikhs, supposedly. Some are like there's few. In this time when you're supposed to make dua and nusra, help, these people are engaged in critiquing certain people from Palestine and attacking them. and they're almost to a level of mockery.
What do you mean?
And I don't want to say because I'll give you more. I don't want to talk about the specific individuals. This is not the time to. And they've been like smashed by people. Like they've been critiqued by one of them. He made fun. I'm not sure which. He was from the Middle East somewhere. He made fun of one of the spokesmen for the people there, and he got like humiliated for the last week on Arab channels and so forth, to the point that he was one of the khatibs in Jummah listened to, I think Palestine or Syria somewhere, and he goes, "May Allah, in Arabic, it's like Allah make your face ugly and humiliate." But it's basically saying Allah put darkness, humiliation on your face, like a harsh dua for talking like that in such a severe circumstance that they're in. Like so there's those guys. There's the guys that are suggesting that the Palestinians should capitulate, bow their head. They've been lambasted. How do you say? Lambasted. Like
Palestinians will never bow their heads.
Yeah, and this is like a feather in their cap as a people, that where others might have capitulated, bowed, they have not done that. They've stood their ground multi-generationally.
There's this old guy sitting on the ruins of his wall, leaning back, having a cigarette, and he's like, "This is my home. Do what you want. I'm not leaving.
Yeah,
I'm going to rebuild, and I'm staying." Because they know from the last time they left, they were never allowed back in.
I had to explain last Jummah. It's an Urdu word based on the Arabic word begherati. Yeah. So what is a begherat? Because it's a word that's got so many. So I had to explain it in Jummah. So ghaira or ghira in Arabic means to have a self-respect, pious jealousy. There's different translations of it. But I had to explain what a ghaira. Ghaira is when someone doesn't want, as an example of ghaira, that sense of protective jealousy you get when somebody looks at your wife or daughter the wrong way. So like, that sense of honor that you have for your family. This is one type of ghaira. The other one is the defensive feeling that you have for Islam and Muslims. There's different types of ghaira, right? So the loyalty that you have, it carries a lot of, it's very, very emotive. So bayghirat in Urdu and Farsi and Pashto and all these languages is the opposite of that. That you're such a low life that you're shameless, right? So there's some statements that are said, they are infused with baghirati, like they have no ghaira, like to tell the Palestinians that you should capitulate, that you should give up, when they are ready to fight and stand their ground, and go to and to criticize them. He goes, look at like you shouldn't do that. It's so against Islamic ethos of bravery, sabr, holding ground. Like it's such a shameful thing to say in public, or to make fun of the people there, Muslims, and to make humiliate them in as a rhetorical thing in a khutbah.
Because you can't humiliate them.
It's so disgraceful. Like when you hear it, like your blood boils. Like what kind of person talks like it tells you about the character of the person. And in this time, a lot of people are being exposed. One of the most ugly things that is repeated in certain groups, unfortunately, that I'm part of, it's really unfortunate. This is something that people are trying to dig out and blame the Palestinians for. This is a sensitive topic to many people.
Be very careful how you say this.
No, it's not a political sensitive. It's that some people say the Palestinians are to blame for this situation because, astaghfirullah azim, because of what the Arabs did, including the people of region Palestine, in terms of with the Ottomans 120 years ago. 100 years ago.
Astaghfirullah.
Like, firstly, that's 100 years ago, right? So you're telling me the 5,000 children that are dying now, that they are paying for that? Like the ones that 5,000 so far that died.
That is the same as Israel saying they're all Hamas fighters.
No. So it's a crazy thing to say, and like then we will give another khutbah. So this one, like giving khutbah about this, and like as though the brothers and sisters they're at fault. It's a crazy thing to talk about. Number one. Number two, I said to him, and I said to him, okay, then if we want to keep going back and back and back, Tipu Sultan in India, he asked for help from the Ottomans in the middle of the 19th century. He held the ground to the British for 3 decades. And he goes, and when he asked for help, he was told, no help is coming, basically. He was denied help. And he was denied help because he said, we have an alliance with the British, so be good boys to the British in India, right? He was the last.
Wow.
After him, the India just like fell to the British, right?
Yep.
And he was like, I wouldn't call it betrayal, but I will not go around giving a khutbah. The Turks stuffed us Indians,
And that's
up,
why they
the
lost
subcontinent
the-
up, right? We can go to play this game forever. I love this one Turkish historian. He said it nicely because this question was asked, just to put this at, for me, it's not like a non-issue, but they said, did the Arabs betray, they asked him this question on TV. They said, did the Arabs betray, he's a Turkish historian, did the Arabs betray the Turks? He said, people don't betray people. Certain rulers betray certain rulers.
Wow.
Like, it's alliances, right? It's a top dog, he's making
Yep.
the decision. But the idea that a Muslim, whether he's an Arab or a Turk or a Kurd or a Indian or Afghan or whatever, Egyptian, the individual person that has Iman and is a Muslim will never throw, and if we keep doing this is stupidity. Actually, it's like, because we're so far removed from it, to bring it back, it doesn't actually add any benefit to the current situation the Ummah is in. It doesn't heal the Ummah by being in the past forgotten. Allah's made it that in the past, why resurrect and create feelings in Muslims' heart against other Muslims? This is stupidity. It's like
But I think these people that are talking, does anyone even listen to them when someone says this?
Unfortunately, in his local mosque, people have to listen. They have to suffer listening to them.
Yeah, that's suffering, but they're not agreeing with him.
Yeah.
Like,
True.
I
think it's
suffering.
It's nonsensical.
It's the same as
it's
watching
stupidity.
the IDF guys.
It's nonsense.
Or the IOF, the Israeli Occupational Force guys. It's the same thing as watching him saying, "This is the Hamas name," and the shift timings for the hostages.
It's stupid. Like, it's low IQ sort of stuff that doesn't benefit the Ummah, doesn't unite the Ummah. I mean, we can even go further. Like, the Turks could turn around and say that in World War I, there were 1.3 million Muslim.
Man, this is close to your heart.
1.3 million Indians, which is from the subcontinent in general, they were fighting for the British.
For the British.
Right?
And died many. Thousands.
1.3 million. 700,000, if I remember correctly, 700,000 was stationed in Mesopotamia. That's what they call it, Iraq.
Wow.
Out of how much you reckon were Muslims out of the army of the 1.3 million? 1/3 were Muslims. So there was 1/3 of the Muslim army, 1/3 of the British army from the India were fighting against Turkey and its allies, right? The Khilafah, right? I don't know what you're talking about. Like, so we can go around playing this game of something that happened 100 years ago, 200 years ago.
This must have been a big impact, because I've never heard about this, because you're quite passionate right now.
No, what I'm saying is a stupidity in the current climate. Like I said earlier, what my teacher said, there's only two things to do: dua and nusra. Find all the ways. Don't be petty and bring stupid arguments from history to.
You're really hoping this guy listens to this talk.
No.
Yes,
He probably won't listen.
If you know him,
I
play
find
it for him.
I find that, and in immaturity, maybe once upon a time you play this, but this is immaturity. This is like a low IQ stuff.
This is not the time to turning on anyone. This is the time to just go, man, what do we do?
Yeah, they are earning their stripes. As Muslims, the Palestinians have earned their stripes. The Afghanis have earned their stripes. They didn't earn their stripes in. They earned it, by
Through
struggle,
blood.
and hardship. That what they've gone
These
through.
kids, Hasbunallah wa ni'mal wakil, when they're having a conversation or they're talking, when you hear them talking the way they talk on TikTok, they're doing dhikr.
Yeah. They're like
They're
little.
ayats
They're
of
like
Qur'an,
little.
like
They're
whatever
adults.
they're
I
saying.
mean, the amount of what they have gone through,
It's
and what they have to accept.
It's unbelievable.
Yeah, it's
and how many people are coming to Islam because of this?
yeah.
People are looking at these guys and going, what possesses them not to break down in terms of PTSD, all these issues? How are they still turning to Allah?
Look, they're human beings, and they will have Allah give them sabr, and Allah's mercy be upon them. Those who passed away, and those that are alive, may Allah make it easy for them, because they're human beings. The idea, I saw this girl and she's crying. He goes, "I wish I died with my mother."
Yeah, man.
So the idea that they somehow,
And she's got no legs.
yeah, I mean, they're the level of hardship that is inflicted on them, it is hardship. And the only thing they can do is resign. The iman resigns them to sabr. Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, I'll give you an incident. Sumayya radiallahu anhu, Yasir radiallahu anhu, he passed, they died in Makkah
I
Mukarramah.
was thinking about that the other day, that Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam has to walk past them.
And he just says, sabr al
can't do
Yasir.
anything.
Sabr, O family of Yasir. That's all you can do.
Yeah.
Sabr, O family of Yasir.
All the other Sahaba there as well.
And they didn't see Uhud or Badr or victories or Egypt or Sham being conquered. They didn't see. They died in Makkah Mukarramah without seeing any conquest. Right? They died. So the reason I'm mentioning this specific point, there are Muslims that are talking about victory. I think this is very premature.
Extremely premature.
And this is something...
There's Muslims talking about victory, talking about Imam Mahdi, talking about this.
Yeah, I think...
all these things.
I think we have to... We hope from victory from Allah and an opening very soon. We hope Allah, it will come. It might not even come in our lifetime.
That's the point that we have to understand.
We
So what do we do, and how do we get our kids ready with their iman?
It doesn't mean that we stop the fight, the struggle, the nusrah and the dua doesn't stop. But at the same time, we apply our energies for the sake of Allah. And if you do for the sake of Allah, it's unlimited. You have an unlimited resource to tap into of sabr and so forth, because you're dealing with the unlimited. So I think it's very important as Muslims that we don't become nihilistic or nothing is happening or so forth. This is very, as a Muslim, is very, very important.
Because over time, what's going to happen is, yes, there's a lot of protests, everything like that. They're relying on activism fatigue. They're relying on people to go,
Zionists.
We can't do anymore. Our protests are doing nothing. How much? Because that's what's happened in the past. People shout up and down. Remember a few years ago there was protests for Palestine.
Yeah.
Then everyone just got on with their life again. So this is something we have to understand. This is what people are relying on. For it to peter out, for people to lose momentum, because you can't maintain that level of energy. You can't maintain that level of energy for such a long time. But you can maintain that level of dua. You can maintain that level of connecting with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And
through that, you'll get the strength to do more. The idea is not to stop. The idea, if you, I'll give you an example. I gave the example of Sumayya and Yasir. They died. They gave their life for Islam. They're the first shaheeds in Islam. They left this world without seeing any apparent success. Yeah, they got the ultimate success. They became shaheeds, and Islam was built on them. But they didn't see all the worldly conquests and successes. They only saw Muslims copying it and being tortured, and they themselves were tortured to death. Like Sumayya radiallahu anha is the first shaheed in Islam, first man in Islam. She was speared in her private parts. She left this world without seeing. She saw the ultimate success, obviously shahada. But it's something to, and that her son and the son Ammar ibn Yasir, he saw the parents get tortured to death, to the point that he said some things to appease the kuffar, which were according to against Islam. He had to say something because they coerced him and tortured him. They killed his parents in front of him. Of course they're going to kill him. So to save his life, he said something. He was worried about that. So there is a situation where, and how long would that last for? That's why Khabbab bin Arat radiallahu anhu, sahabi, he came to Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. He complained, he asked for dua for the tortures. Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, you're being hasty. You want things quickly. He said the people before you, iron combs were used to remove the flesh from the body, and they did not leave Islam. They died. And then a saw was put, Rasulullah gave this example, a saw was put on top, and they were cut in two pieces, and they did not leave Islam. You're being hasty. You want things quickly. What's Rasulullah talking about when he's talking about sacrifice, because the sacrifice they're giving, which ultimately led to hijrah, ultimately led to the establishment of Muslim community in Medina Munawwara. All these efforts didn't go to vain. They established Islam in the world. But Rasulullah said that things come in their own time. You're the ones that you're going through and I think it's very important for us to understand that whatever struggles that you're making, inshallah, for the sake of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and to our brothers and sisters who listen to this, you need to tap into, and I said this in Jummah last week, you have to be very careful with the excessive social media consumption, that it becomes just a matter of looking, not doing. That if you just look constantly at the pain and suffering people, and I mentioned this, because you see a video child in 4K in front of you, the immediate human reaction is to reach out and hold them. But you can't do that. You want to hold them, you want to support them, you want to comfort them, you want to put band-aids, you want to treat them, you want to do something. You want to take them to the emergency services, but you can't do nothing. And you're watching this over and over again, to the point, not that you should not be just sitting there watching things, and that's it. That's where you stop.
You know what?
Sorry, let me just finish this point. That else, your internal reserve of dealing with this will run out. So what I advised to the brother and sister in Jummah was that you have to keep going, but you have to be careful with this, like especially this thing, because it's so much is being given to us, so much information that we actually can't process it. We're not made to watch.
Emotionally, we can't process.
Yeah,
it.
we're not made to watch people suffering non-stop. And I get it. The people there are in the real situation. They're suffering. There's no food, electricity, so forth. But we're watching, and we're not part of it, but we're sort of part of it because we know about it. Like, we have to be careful. And I don't want to sound weak that we are, like, our mental health isn't, I don't want to, but it is important. As long as that you turn to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, you build your iman, listen to the right things, the right reminders and so forth, and read Quran and tap into, people are reading Quran because of what the Palestinians are going through and the sabr they're making. So we should learn from them. Okay, I need more reserve. I need a more charge of iman, Quran, salat, a'mal. And we should be continuing doing our efforts, continuing doing, supporting our brothers and sisters there and anywhere else as well, to make sure that we keep going this. We don't give up, because that's what they're relying on. So we keep going. But I've got a feeling, sorry, I'm speaking a bit too alongside khutbah, but I've got a feeling that, this is my personal view, that we might have to do this for the long term. I think there are very dark nights, a very long night is about to start. This is just the beginning of it. And I this is my personal feeling.
Why do you say that?
I don't know. I don't feel like victory. I don't feel that victory is, well, Mahdi alayhi salam, we don't know when he will come.
I'm not talking about that, but what happens in the situation of the world before he comes?
Well, the world could have many khalifas. The world could change over many times. Things could change a lot. But before he comes, whenever he comes, right? Before he comes, the world will fill with zulm. Right? The whole world will fill up with zulm. He will come and he'll fill it with justice, as it was filled with zulm. Right? So there's something, and you can see there's a sense that the world, but we don't know how many innings are there between him and us. Right? Like, we don't know. People are saying, he's around the corner. Right? We've been hearing that our whole life.
2005, man.
2099.
I was told Hajj 2005.
2012.
It's all happening.
Yeah. So Allah only knows the future. He could come in 1,000 years. In the time, there could be many innings. There could be many ups and downs. Muslims could rise again, fall again. So we don't know. Right? But just to remember that before he comes, right? Let's say it's in the next inning that he's coming. If that's around the corner, then the world is not a very nice place. It's actually filled with a lot of, so
it's going to be ugly.
And what I'm saying is that we should be ready, and we need to maybe make ourselves, through a'mal, dua, being active in all the a'mal of deen and supporting, according to Quran Sunnah, supporting our brothers and sisters, doing all the things that need to be done to for the long term, as opposed to, like Rasulullah told Khabbab bin Arad, you being hasty. Yep. So the idea of victory being around the corner, because we're expecting victory, because we feel like we need it, we want it. Inshallah, victory will come. But like Sumayya, I'll give you another example. Like Musa bin Umair became shaheed in the Battle of Uhud. Abdurrahman bin Auf is one of the wealthy Sahaba, one of the 10 that are promised Jannah. Many years later, some food was hot food, and this is after conquest and all these sort of things, and some food is brought in front of him, placed. And he looked at the food, the hot food, because now it's like in all these conquests and everything, and it's just hot food. And he looked at it, and he remembered Musa bin Umair, the best dressed youth of Makkah Mukarramah, who was thrown, when he became Muslim, he was thrown out of his house naked. And Musa bin Umair radiallahu anhu, but Rasulullah, out of all the Sahaba that are there in his company in Makkah, he picks this young man who was wearing rags, right? Once the best dressed, even Rasulullah cried when he saw his condition. And Rasulullah chooses him and Abdullah ibn Maktoum radiallahu anhu to send him to Medina Munawwara. In 1 year, he did such a work. They said there was no house in Medina Munawwara, the Medina Munawwara that we love so much, the city of our Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. There was no house in Medina except somebody had become Muslim on the hand of Musa bin Umair. What a da'wah to give in 1 year in that city to prepare, not a normal city, Medina to Nabi, the city that every Muslim loves and wants to go there and die as Rasulullah. And people made du'as like Umar.
Medina's in his account.
Wow. Every house in Medina, there's no house in Medina except that he prepared. That person doesn't stop there. He keeps going. In Uhud, he said one arm was cut, the flag goes to the other, and doesn't stop. The other arm is cut, He doesn't stop. He holds it with the end of his arm. He goes and grabs, but he doesn't let the flag of Islam fall while he's alive. And then there's not enough cloth to bury him.
Yeah.
And he leaves this world. Abdul Rahman bin Auf remembered him. And he said that he was better than us, but he didn't see this. Like he didn't see it. And Umar radiallahu anh, when he saw the conquest of Persia and Rome, Persia, the treasures coming, he looked and he started crying. Allah's gift. Oh, Rasulullah didn't see this. Abu Bakr radiallahu anh didn't see this. It's coming my time. We've been tested. And he said that they were better than us. They didn't see these things. Right? So like they saw conquest, worldly conquest and successes, and they cried because they thought that they're being rewarded in this world. There's nothing for them in the akhirah. So what I'm saying is like the struggle has to continue against zulm, against oppression. The du'as have to be made. The efforts have to be made. All the various efforts that are out there, people are doing actively to stop this, to for the long term. But we need to do it for the long term. We can't
You know what helped me from what you're saying? I listened to Mufti Abdul Rahman from the UK. So he was giving a talk about this. He was talking about social media and stuff like that. Right? If you have a look at, for example, you spend an hour on social media a day. You know, I think it was like you spend 10% of that and use the other 90% to do some amal. So it may not be 10%. It may be, you know, you spend an hour, spend 10 minutes or 15 minutes or 20 minutes and slowly build up to doing some amal instead. Because I find when I'm just sitting on my phone, man, I can make 4 hours go.
Yeah.
And I don't even know 3-4 hours have passed. So it's a conscious effort going, okay, that is what is going on right now. This is the situation. There's been no new developments. All I'm going to see is that same thing, and I'm not belittling it. I'm not saying don't share, don't like or don't comment and stuff like that, because this does help all the algorithms. But what I am saying is more important than that, like you were just saying, Quran, dua, salat. Pray 100 rakats of Salat al-Hajat. Like, turn to amal, because what another thing that I've noticed on social media is when you have non-Muslims commenting on certain things, and it's fantastic, and like Allah reward them, give them all hidayah. But Muslims are like, thank you for your support, thank you for this. Finally, someone's starting to realize, why are we turning to these people? Like, it's good, encourage them, but sometimes the comments are almost like, oh, it's because of your support we're going to get victory. No, it's because of Allah.
Yeah.
Turn our attention back to the fact that Allah is the one that is going to give victory. So we need connection with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, because Allah can do without any of these people. Allah can do without social media, without anyone commenting. I'm conscious of that. I'm seeing a lot of that Muslims are it's almost like relying on. And
there's no such thing as a free lunch.
Yeah.
And there's no such thing as free support. Tomorrow we expect it. And there's a cost to them supporting us, right? And you can see it. Everybody has a limit how much they can support you. Only a Muslim will die for his cause. Only a Muslim, like, he's ready for shahada because he looks forward to that, right? But and there's an example, you know, Abu Bakr Siddiq radiallahu anhu was leaving Makkah Mukarramah. And because of the tortures, it became so difficult. And then I think Abu Daghin, if I remember the name correctly, he basically was saying, how can a person like you leave? No. Like, you're one of the leaders of Quraysh, you're like a shakers and responsible and good person. So he goes, no, you're going to protection. And then Abu Bakr, we used to read his Quran still, loudly. And they basically, Abu Bakr radiallahu anhu had to come into the middle of Makkah. Even the kuffar support is conditional and it's limited. It's not unconditional. It's not. So don't. And Abu Bakr radiallahu anhu came into the middle of Makkah and he said that I absolve him any protections. Like I absolve him from any protection that he will not protect. Like, he doesn't owe me anything. He's fulfilled his responsibility. So he was beaten up. Abu Bakr Siddiq radiallahu anhu was beaten up and so forth. So the thing is that
his face was unrecognizable.
Like he's beating that much. And so the thing is that the idea, you're right. Like, I think ultimately, even Muslims, whatever support that we're going to do, whatever efforts, that's for akhirah and to alleviate and help our Muslim brothers, and it's for the sake of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala.
That's it. That's what we need to come back to that and realize.
Like, we can't just go sit in a room and not do anything. So I'm just going to pray nafal for the next 3 hours.
That's not what I'm saying.
Well, you kind of alluded to that. So I'm saying, like, we have to do our amal and tilawat and all these sort of things, and إِيَّاكَ نَعْبُدُ وَإِيَّاكَ نَسْتَعِينُ. Oh Allah, we only worship you and we only seek your help. Like, we present our worship to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. like as in the court of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, Ya Allah, I pray these rakats. Allah is not going to help you because whatever means of this world that you used, like whatever effort, we do all efforts. Ultimately, what we present in the court of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is worship. And that is what Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala cares about, and sacrifices. And any efforts that we make sure, like quote unquote, we love our food to be halal, Sharia compliant, they got the stamps on it. We want to find this to be halal. So then also all our efforts of deen have to be Sharia compliant. And we're given a lot of leeway on ways we can contribute and support, right?
That's what I'm not saying stay in the house and just do amal. But what I'm saying is rather
Amal,
than spending less time on social media,
yeah,
do that.
of course.
Still go to protests, still do all
Amal,
of these things.
the thing is that amal, like when we say amal, like the amal of Nabuwa, the amal of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, the amal, there's a lot of things to do. Like it's not just tilawat, salat and dhikr.
Yeah,
like it's like if you're doing khidmah, serving. Like there are brothers and sisters already active. They're over there.
Charity,
the
yes,
charity
yes,
like
I
that. That is an
understand.
amal, right? There are people that are speaking truth to power. They're actually having meetings, going to ministers and having meetings and actually.
That's the point I'm trying to make. Do these things rather than just sitting on the phone.
Yeah.
That's the point I'm trying to make.
Yeah. So inshallah, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, I mean, we have to keep going. We have to, like this wave that is there, it's inshallah, it keeps going. Muslims focus. It's bizarre because it's such a small place. Gaza is such a tiny little place. And the whole world is focused on this tiny little place. And, but what's
Allah's
broken through is the people's statements. And people have become Muslims. When they look at the words, they don't understand. They're confused how a person can say Alhamdulillah, right?
He's lost everything. Wife, kids,
like
shop, house,
literally like
everything.
their Alhamdulillah has made 1,000,000 times more. Like someone in the UFC saying Alhamdulillah. Honestly, like it's 100%. A different level. Like you can win a boxing match or whatever, say Alhamdulillah, Bismillah, whatever. But these people, they've lost, like it's real like pain that they're going through, real loss.
The reality,
and despite that, they turn to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, accept, like I said it in Jummah and a few things, like every day a new lesson has been taught of sabr. The page turns and lessons is taught of rida, to accept with pleasure Allah's decree. The next page is turned to a reliance on Allah. The next page, like all the lessons that are there in the books and hadiths and in the ayat Quran.
We're seeing it in real life.
They are like demonstrating it. Like because iman is very hard to show. Reliance on Allah, that you accept Allah's decision. We all say they accept Allah's decision. Allah is the one who provides. It's nothing for me. But like to see people that in that condition,
they literally don't have food and water.
Subhanallah, and to accept their Allah's
and any protection.
Yeah, Subhanallah. So they're teaching us massive lessons on taqwa, on tawakkul, on bravery, on
making me realize how useless I am.
Yeah.
When it comes to these things, like not you, like what am I going to present to Allah?
Yeah.
What am I actually going to present to Allah?
Yeah.
And how on the day of judgment I'll be standing there. Then you got some 7-year-old from Gaza next to me. Ya Allah, I gave $50 to the mosque.
Yeah.
Like wow.
Yeah.
Ya Allah, I gave 100,000 to the mosque. Wow.
Yeah.
This kid's gonna be like, Ya Allah, I lost everything.
Anyway, Allah make it easy, inshallah.
What were you gonna say?
No, there's nothing more to say. Everything's been said. I think we wanted to say just a little bit, but around the world and online and so forth.
It's
but
phenomenal.
So much is said. There's really very little to be said. But I think like we have to be ready mentally for the long haul, and hopefully this doesn't spread. But mentally we have to become resilient. And like the Palestinians, they're teaching us a lesson of resilience, that you can let go of everything and still hold your ground and still be brave and still be generous and still be good and still be a Muslim and a mu'min, a believer. Like that is a resilience. They've been trained multi-generationally, right? They've been multi-generationally. They have to go through it and they've lived it, parents, grandparents and so forth. And Wallahu alam, like they have many lessons, maybe more to teach us. I think we're going to talk about some other things, but I think we'll leave it there, inshallah.
Yeah.
It's getting late. Inshallah, may Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala help them, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala protect them, and Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala make this as a means of hidayah for ourselves, family,
Ameen.
friends, and the whole ummah, ya Allah. and that the Ummah's attention, that the Ummah returns our youth, young men and women across the world, they come back to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala used the shuhada, their blood and sacrifice of these people, that Allah used it as a means of uplifting the whole Ummah and make it means of hidayah for others as well, as has done for many people as well. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala accept, inshallah.
That's what I say to any young person, Muslim, non-Muslim listening, hats off to you.
Yeah.
I'm not wearing it, but his cap off to you. Like, keep it up. MashaAllah.
Allah guide us all.
Ameen.
Assalamu alaikum.
Wa alaikum assalam wa rahmatullah.